They're waiting. They're in.
Oh, okay.
You might want to ask during audience business if that person wants to speak.
You ready? I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:01. Will you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The next thing on the agenda is the roll call. Heather, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Queenie Bars.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Here.
Trustee Ed Hallam.
Here.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Here.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Here.
Trustee Janice Bryan. Here. Trustee Brent McWhorter.
Here.
Okay, we have a roll call. I think we have a quorum, so we will continue. Next is the approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I can make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
And we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks and a second by Trustee Cindy Simpson and Janice Bryan to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes of January 27th, 2021, and I'm going to entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the last meeting for staff. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Janice Bryan and a second by Trustee Betsy Harrison to approve the minutes of January 27th, 2021. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Next on the agenda is audience business. And whoever is on the iPhone, do you want to speak during audience business?
Oh, number one, I'm not on an iPhone.
Well, there's someone on the iPhone on here, so that's why I asked you.
It's not an iPhone. So
No,
it's
online.
Online.
Somebody online. She's
Oh,
talking to.
sorry.
Okay. So the person on the iPhone, do you want to speak during audience business? There is nobody that has signed up for audience business. Does anybody want to sign up? Okay. We'll move right along into announcements. Heather, do you have any announcements?
I have one, and then Justin and we'll ask Harry. But we received this afternoon notice to proceed with construction advertising on the Main Street Bridge. So still working with the engineer to finalize the SSPs. And then tomorrow we will be posting that on our website. He's going to put it on BidNet, which is CDOT's preferred vendor website. We're not required to post it in the newspaper if we put it on BidNet, so that's what we will be doing tomorrow. And once I know that it's advertised, I will be sending the invitation to bid to you all because it'll have the schedule in there. And then I'll work with Rachel to start getting notice out to the public and the businesses in that area and that kind of thing. I just want to make sure it's actually officially advertised before I put any official information out there. So, and then I don't know if Justin has anything.
So I had a meeting with the Cortez Police Chief today, trying to push the new Cortez dispatch IGA. I'm hoping to try and get that in front of the board. My goal is the last meeting of March. For what we've been working on over the last year. So I just want to let you guys know, project's nearing its end. It's just getting everybody together to approve the final IGA at our level before we
J's.
Actually, I do have one thing. I did reach out to the board for the school board to try to get minutes and things, but I still have not heard back. Yeah, and I did attend their meeting online the other day, and from what I could gather from what I could hear, it seems like they're abandoning their search for their superintendent themselves, and they're going to hire a company to try to do it, from what I could understand from their meeting the other day. So we'll see.
And the card going around is Steve, Lindsay, alternate, her partner passed away just last week, so there's a sympathy card going around, so all of the members would sign it, please. I appreciate that. Okay, no other announcements. We'll move right along to the treasurer's report, the January bills and claims, and I would entertain a motion.
I have a question first,
Okay.
and then I'll make a motion. The $41,822 for annual dispatch fees.
Yes.
How, I don't remember numbers, how close to what we budgeted is that?
We budgeted what we paid last year, or somewhere in the area, and I believe, it's in the red folder, I believe we budgeted 54,000.
Okay, so we're
good. We're good. We're good on that bill, yes.
Cindy, on that, remember we had a credit coming to us this year for overpayment the last few years, where there was a fund balance in their budget. So they're doing that in a 2-year increment, so we didn't have like $20,000 bill, and then the next year we jump up to 50 to 60,000. So there should be another credit coming to us this year.
Okay, thank you. If nobody else has any questions, then I'll make a motion that we approve the bills and claims as submitted by staff.
No second?
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Cindy Simpson and a second by trustee Brenda Porter to accept the January bills and claims as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the committee reports. And presented by the Region 9 Southwest Colorado Economic Development. And Rachel, do you want to?
That was Denise.
It's Denise.
Yeah, I attended, or I did this 3-hour Zoom with, their board packet is 170 pages, just so you guys can appreciate what we do here.
I was there for a while, couldn't take it anymore.
And Rachel, if I don't quite get it right, you can jump in here. They said a lot of this was their COVID response summary, and $3.7 million in new loan capital was raised, and then they had something like 558,000 is like this operating grant that they received, and it's part of like the CARES, and Montezuma got 8,000 of that grant. There's another grant program, it's that CARES Act funded grant program. They had 655,000 total, and Montezuma County was awarded 71 different awards for $353,000. They talked a bit about some new funding sources. Now they have their EDD, their Economic Development District. That was about $8 million, and $3 million of that went to rural areas. And it kind of has a different title. It's Colorado Microfund Loan. And also the Small Business Administration stepped in, and they, so people can now apply to get one of these Small Business Administration loans up to $10,000 or less. Again, they talked about some of the census, and the census data has not been totally released yet. They're still, that'll make some difference on their fees, their loans, and so on. What they did release, though, 70% of Colorado was self-recorded, and 63.5 of that was Montezuma County, so we did pretty good. Then there's a report from the acronym ESCAPE, and they help businesses grow, and they partner with, they get a partner with that mentors. And they started like a program with some high school students, so that some of the high school students from Cortez and Durango and so on, they kind of teaching them how to be little entrepreneurs, which is, I think, a really cool thing. There's a new website, and it's county resources that it's swcoda.org. And it brings up all the different counties, and if you click on that, they're doing a fabulous job. So it'll tell you like COVID relief things, where to get your COVID shot, just kind of what's going on in your county. So, and they're going to continue to upgrade that. And if I misspoke, maybe Miss Rachel will jump in.
It all sounds pretty right on as far as just the stuff that they typically report. I wasn't able to attend that particular meeting, so thank you, Janice, for stepping in there. But yeah, they make a lot of microloans and low interest loans to businesses that might not otherwise qualify from a regular bank, and that's a big part of what they do. But yeah, if you have a chance to check out the Southwest Coda site, they do have a lot of information in there about Montezuma County. And I did click around a little bit, but I don't know. Check it out and see what you think. And if it's, I'm sure they would fix it because they have a couple people working on it. But if it's not, if it doesn't look like it's up to date or something about our area.
Thank you both for giving them the time to do that. Okay, next on the agenda is our action and discussion items, and the first item is the water treatment plant increase in design and engineering scope. Heather?
So if you remember, our original budget for design and engineering was $177,747. And we received what amounted to a grant from the state for the full amount. It was a loan, but it was 100% loan forgiveness, so we don't have to pay it back, so it ends up being a grant. SGM is anticipating and asking us to approve a $25,000 increase in scope, and I outlined the areas. Electrical design was a little more in-depth than we thought. For example, there are a couple of things up there that are no longer to code. So they're having to work with Empire Electric to bring our electric up to code. Project phasing, we are phasing the project into 3 separate phases. We'd hope to do everything at once, but with funding opportunities limited, we're phasing the project now. So they've put some extra work into that. The geotech engineering, $2,500 for that. And then chemical changes is the one we talked about switching or looking into reviewing chlorine versus sodium chloride. So they did some extra research at our request on that project. So that's what the additional $2,500 is. So I included their letter, which gave all of the details as far as what that $25,000 is. So if you guys approve this, design and engineering for the entire project is costing us $25,000 because we got a grant for the other $177,000. And our water fund balance is healthy. We can absorb $25,000.
Did we not already discuss an increase in the engineering fee on this?
Not on the water plant.
A few
No.
more meetings ago?
Not on the water plant, no. I think I made an announcement that said it's coming.
Okay.
And these are the details.
This isn't the first time, I'm just
No,
saying,
it's
no,
not
I
the first
remember
time.
this being discussed once.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was,
We
it's
didn't approve it
coming.
then, and we're not asking for it again this
No.
year, we're just saying it's down the pipe. Okay.
Correct.
I'm just trying, I'm getting old.
In other words, this approval isn't going into Heather's pocket.
No, well.
Right. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I will do my best. Terry's been phenomenal on this project, so if you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them.
And what did we end up with the chemicals? Because I know there was a concern that like the chlorine is very damaging to health if you're not really careful, and so go with something less noxious for our.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we kept the chlorine as a backup because we will have UV disinfection.
Okay.
So if I'm thinking of the right plan, UV disinfection will be our main, but if it ever goes down or we need maintenance, we kept the chlorine as a backup. It's got a longer shelf life. It's not as expensive.
Okay.
With the sodium.
Lower.
I'm sorry?
Your residual is lower. UV doesn't read, nor does ozone. So chlorine, you still have to have some readable,
Correct.
tangible item to show improvement in the state. That's why you do it that way.
Well, and yes, and we went with chlorine instead of sodium chloride because once we mix it, if we don't use it, we lose it kind of thing. So we did, UV is the main disinfection.
Okay.
I think they said that it was like less parts per million or something.
Right, yeah, it's just a very small residual.
It's a lot less than what we're using now.
Yeah, you don't have to put too much chlorine, because the chlorine is not the disinfectant, the UV is.
Right.
Because I
The
was
chlorine is
remembering
just there as a
yes.
reading to prove
Yes.
that it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion unless somebody has any questions.
I move we authorize a $25,000 increase for the design and engineering of the water treatment plant project, bringing the total design and engineering cost from $177,747 to $202,747.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Brett McWhorter and a second by trustee Cindy Simpson to authorize a $25,000 increase for the design and engineering of the water treatment plant project, bringing the total design and engineering cost from $177,747 to $202,747. Heather, would you call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Aye.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Brent McWhorter.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Hallam.
Aye.
Trustee Janice Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda then is the water treatment plant project DOLA grant acceptance.
And David is on Zoom, so I just want to let him know when I'm done, I'll ask if you have anything to add on this, because it will be a grant contract. So I just wanted to give you time to unmute if you needed it.
Okay, thanks, Heather. Yeah,
okay.
listening. Great.
So we applied to DOLA for $1 million grant. I don't know if you remember that. You authorized that for us at the third quarter of last year, authorizing us to apply for the grant. We applied for $1 million through their Energy Impact Assistance Fund. We had to do our presentation to them in January, and we received notice from them last week that they did award $850,000 to the town for this project. And it is the entire project as far as replacing the water tank, upgrading the operating system, the UV, that kind of thing. So it was phenomenal. We weren't sure how much we were going to get. So $850,000 was a really nice surprise for us. So what I need from the board, if you're inclined, is to officially accept the grant and authorize the mayor and I to execute the DOLA grant contract.
Heather did a nice job of putting together and then presenting our application. Very nice job.
And how many applicants were there?
41? About 41.
And it was how much money left?
Well, they had 23 or $28 million to give away, or in requests, and they had $13 million available.
Yeah.
So we were very lucky.
We were really
Yes.
lucky.
Yes, to get.
And you had to do that in person, right?
Well, yes, via Zoom.
But,
But yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
there's
was
a
good.
committee of, I don't know, 20 or so people, and any request over $200,000, any grant request, we are required to do a formal presentation to the committee. And then the committee hears all the presentations in one day. They take an hour or so at the end of the day and they all discuss them. and then they give their recommendations to Rick Garcia, who's the executive director of DOLA. Ultimately, it's his decision, and he can either take the recommendations or not. I listened to the end of day discussion. However, I don't know what their final recommendations were to Mr. Garcia. So, but they did award us the $850,000.
We did well.
Yes.
You did well.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks.
Any other
Dave.
questions or anything? Then I would, David, do you have any comments?
No, you know, at some point would like to see the, you know, the contract and make sure that, you know, there's nothing worrisome in the contract itself, and, you know, have probably the board approve that. With some of our other grants and contracts, you know, they require like an opinion letter from the attorney. I just want to make sure we get everything we need to do an opinion letter, if they even need one. I'm not sure if they even need one from me, but typically that looks like you know, a board ordinance or a board resolution, that kind of thing.
Hey, David, I'll make sure you get the contract as soon as I get it from DOLA. This particular grant, the energy impact, doesn't require a resolution or ordinance of the board, and it doesn't require an opinion letter because it's a grant, not a loan. But I'll make sure that as soon as I get the paperwork from DOLA, I send it to you.
Sounds great. Awesome. Yeah, that's a lot of money, so great job. Yeah, be very helpful.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion.
I move. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I move we accept the grant award from the Department of Local Affairs Energy Impact Assistance Fund in the amount of $850,000 and authorize the town administrator and mayor to execute the grant documents.
Okay, second by Adele. We have a motion by Trustee Betsy Harrison and a second by Trustee Ed Hallam to accept the grant award for the Department of Local Affairs Energy Impact Assistance Fund in the amount of $850,000 and authorize the town administrator and the mayor to execute the grant documents. Heather, would you please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Hallam.
Aye.
Trustee Janice Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Brent McWhorter.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Main Street Bridge fiber relocation.
Yes, so we talked about this too, Ed. I made an announcement at the last meeting. We are working with DB Tech because the fiber that runs from here to the rest of town, the library, the school, the shop, is currently attached underneath the existing bridge. So it needs to be relocated in order for us to replace the existing bridge. Bill from DB Tech had given us an original estimate of around $43,000 or $44,000. Terry and him walked the site and made some adjustments to the route, and that brought the quote down to $25,000. So this is something we will pay out of our pocket as part of the Main Street Bridge project, and it comes out of town reserves. It's not covered under the grant. So because of the amount, I need you guys to talk about it, consider it, approve it, go back for questions. But I do want to thank Terry because he met with Bill on site and they went back and forth, and we did cut the cost of this almost in half. So
Yeah,
Good
great.
job. Yeah. I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So once this is replaced, we don't have to do this again, do
No.
we? 'Cause this isn't just a temporary thing. It's like, once we get it going.
the first part of it is to temporarily relocate it. That's the $18,061.28.
Okay.
The second part of it, the $6,988, that's to put it back on the new bridge when it's done.
Oh, okay,
So,
oh, I see.
When the new
Okay.
bridge is done, he'll run it, and we're actually building space for conduit into the bridge, because right now it's taped or zip tied underneath the bridge. So yeah, we'll be putting conduit in. But this 25,000 or 26,000 is to temporarily relocate it and put it back permanently.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we authorize up to $26,000 to DB Technologies to relocate and replace the fiber at the Main Street Bridge.
I can second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Cindy Simpson and a second by trustee Denise Bryant to authorize up to $26,000 to DB Technologies to relocate and replace the fiber at the Main Street Bridge. Would you please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Aye.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Hallam.
Aye.
Trustee Janice Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Brent McWhorter.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving right along then, we have the records request from Mr. Rowe for the executive session recording dated 11/11/2020.
We received, I included the Colorado Open Records Act request, the CORA Act request. We received this on February 8th, and Mr. Rowan wanted the agenda and the recording of the meeting, which was public, so I've already sent him that, but the executive session actually belongs to you. The executive session was my performance evaluation as the subject of that executive session. I have no objection to releasing it to Mr. Rowan. David, I've talked to David about it. I don't know if David has anything to add, but I don't mind releasing it to him. But in order to do that, that has to come from you all.
David, do you have anything to add?
No, if we want to discuss this in more detail, I'd recommend we do it maybe in executive session. There's no harm in releasing it if you're okay with releasing it to Mr. Rowan. If we choose not to release it, he may, I don't know. Under the town of the Salt case, this new case that we've experienced about a year ago and had dealings with Mr. Rowan, I think probably about 6 months ago, there are some, we're supposed to, give some specificity in terms of what the topic of the executive session is without revealing the confidences of the executive session. And so, there's, I guess that, there's no reason not to do it if Heather's okay with it. If we don't want to release it, and if the board's okay with it. If we don't want to release it, then I would say let's talk about it in an executive session. We can kind of go through the pros and cons and give you a little more legal advice on the issue. But there's no, we'd have to notice that for a different meeting than tonight. But I have no objection to releasing it. I don't think it hurts anything, and it's no secret Heather got a great performance evaluation, and so the easiest thing to do sometimes is just to release it if that's the board's okay with it.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions or any comments on this subject?
No.
Okay, we're not going to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the town attorney to release the executive session recording date 11/11/2020 to Mr. Rowan per his CORA request dated February 8th, 2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Denise Bryant and a second by trustee Eddie Hallam and trustee Brent McWhorter to authorize the town attorney to release the executive session recording dated 11/11/2020 to Mr. Rowan per his CORA request dated February 8th, 2021. Heather, would you call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Aye.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Brent McWhorter.
Aye.
Excuse me. Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Janice Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Helm.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
So David, does that need to come from you or Do you receive?
I can, either way, I can send it to Mr. Rohn. I think I have his email from before, or you can send it to him as well.
Okay,
because,
I'll call you, or I'll call you
I
tomorrow.
can provide it to you to send to him. And
Okay, I'll give you a call tomorrow and we'll work it out.
okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is the items for the February 24th, 2021 agenda. And currently, right now, we have the Women's History Month proclamation. We have the 2021 Economic Development Work Plan and incentive discussion. And we have the Region 9 presentation, Montezuma County 2020 report. Anybody else have anything else that needs to go on the agenda? I'm sure some other people come up between now and then, but that's where we're at right now. Okay, next thing on the agenda is adjournment, and I would entertain a motion.
Oh, can I ask one question for it's kind of, I know in the past we've tried to get like the Creative Art District and the, let's see, the Chamber together and kind of do a meeting. I kind of think it's important to try to revisit that if they would, I don't know how you guys feel, but I think just, I kind of want to know what their vision is.
We reached out to them and they didn't respond.
I know.
Well, the Creative District responded. It was, unfortunately, it wasn't in time, and then we put the commissioners on the February meeting. So the Creative District did respond. Maggie responded from the chamber, but none of her board responded.
Okay.
And I think it should be a board to board. Maggie and Rachel and Dana and I meet every month. So I thought my impression was that it was a board joint workshop.
Yeah.
But I'm welcome. I mean, I'm happy to re-up that again. And if the chamber doesn't respond, we meet with the Creative District or.
What do you guys think? I just feel moving forward, I personally kind of want to hear from them what their visions are and what they are, kind of what their expectations are. I think
I think we revisit it with them, but I do think that during COVID protocols right now, it's kind of hard to do that with them because their boards are pretty large. I mean, they have a lot of people. The last time we did it, I think we had like 20 people in here for it. So I think, you know, maybe if they want to send one or two of their board members as representatives to meet with us, might be a better way of doing it in this time period if we want to continue, or if we want to table it until we can get more people in the room together. I think that's probably the most prudent thing.
How many do you think we had tonight in here?
There were a lot. There were probably 3 commissioners, 3 staff from the county.
3 P&Z.
3 P&Z, 4 P&Z.
Yeah. So we had about 30 people in here.
I'd
say about 25.
So maybe if
we could throw it out there again and see if there's any interest.
And I could do it via Zoom.
That's what I was just going to suggest. I don't mind if we could do it soon. That would be if we could offer to do a Zoom with them, if that would be helpful.
Well, I could just say something because I'm involved with the Creative District, and that the problem is, I mean, they are meeting, the administrators are all meeting monthly, so it's not like we're totally out of communication. But the real thing is that both the Chamber and the Creative District are not doing much. You know, so I mean, we can have a conversation, but there's not much happening because of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, like the Creative District used to do a lot of events downtown and stuff, and those are just, you know, they have a pin in it, so.
Well, I guess moving forward, like
We should
I'd
advise
like
it
to-
as soon as we can, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I'd like to hear what their thoughts are moving forward and their expectations and.
Well, we were meeting, what, twice a year, quarterly?
Quarterly.
It was quarterly, yeah. So I think when COVID's over, I think, you know, we'll keep on that schedule if they would like to still.
I can do whatever you guys decide. I will say Rachel and I just met with them yesterday? Was it Tina? Yeah, it was yesterday. And kind of collaborated. They're working on the relocation guide. The chamber is working really hard on the relocation guide.
The what guy?
the relocation guy, and that item,
Bringing people in.
you know what, that item will also be brought to you at the February 24th agenda.
Okay, good.
They are asking for sponsorships or advertising, so I'll bring that to you.
Okay.
Rachel and I will both bring that to you at the February 24th agenda. So that's basically what the chamber's focused on, I believe. And then the creative district is working on like projects. They don't have anything set in stone, but they're working on events like Borough Fest and a couple of things for later in the year. So,
And
but
a summer arts camp for kids.
Yeah, oh, good.
So I'll reach out and see if maybe we can Zoom, maybe we can just Zoom our kind of a workshop.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't have to be right before a board meeting kind of thing, but I'll reach out and see how that works, get some feedback, and then reach out to all of you again and see what we can do.
And I think if their boards want to just say, okay, maybe you go represent us, you know, that's fine.
Okay,
I mean,
all right, yeah.
Just a thought, it would just be nice to get more feedback from those organizations.
Yep, I will do that. I will reach out to them again and see if we can do that. Okay.
Anything else? Then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
so moved.
What time?
Motion to adjourn by Cindy Simpson, and the meeting is